With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to fanzone.vegasnation.com to sign up today. With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Vinny, and we are taking questions, Raider questions from listeners and on Twitter, everything, the fan zone. Appreciate you guys jumping on board after a huge win, obviously against the better line here. Against the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Who saw that coming? Well, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. I felt like the Raiders were going to be competitive in this game. I really like where they are offensively. There's work that needs to be done defensively, but I feel like if this offense, plays clean football, and by that I mean, just avoiding the turnovers and the silly mistakes, penalties that they were victims of, self-inflicted, I should say, in the losses to the Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. If they can avoid that, this offense is going to score a lot of points. Now, defensively, obviously, they're going to have to, get it together. And interestingly, they've been playing a lot better in third quarters and second halves, even in the losses. They just need to start faster and play more consistent football. But I thought they kind of turned a corner defensively against Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. Hey, when you can hold Patrick Mahomes and that group to 8 points in the second half, yeah, I'll take that any day of the week, and I'm sure Raider Nation would as well. So let's get right to the questions. Valerie Lopez at Valerie254000645. What did you think of Sunday's game? Well, to me, it sets a baseline now for the Raiders. Look, I don't expect them to go undefeated by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to get beat again this year, but it's one thing to get beat when you're, hey, the other team played better that day. Maybe they were just the better team. That's acceptable, and that's going to happen. But when you shoot yourselves in the foot like the Raiders did against the Patriots and against the Bills, and really kind of sabotage your own efforts, that's where it gets really, really frustrating. And they didn't do any of those things against the Kansas City Chiefs. They made the plays when they needed to make them, and they avoided all the key mistakes that they were making the last 2 weeks. And look what happened. They were able to beat a really good football team, the Super Bowl champions, and the Kansas City Chiefs. So if the Raiders, so when I say they created a baseline for themselves, there's no turning back from that. You know now what you can do playing clean football. And that should be your standard every single Sunday. Nobody plays perfect football, but you have to minimize those mistakes. And if you do, I think the Raiders are going to be in pretty good shape. So aside from the historical significance, Derek Carr winning his first game in Arrowhead Stadium, the Raiders winning that for the first time in 7 years, all of the demons that they were able to exercise, aside from all of that, this is a huge win, I think, for this 2020 team, understanding now this is what we're capable of doing, and we shouldn't deviate back to the mistake-prone team that we were in the previous 2 weeks. So Danny Hernandez at Danny underscore HNDZ. Hey, Vinny, do you think what the defense was able to do in the second half, hold the Chiefs to 8 points, has more to do with the players or the play calling? And does it mean that Gunther's seat has cooled down with that performance? A combination of all of the above, really. Obviously, Paul Gunther's been under a little bit of heat. It's a bottom line business, and his defense wasn't playing bottom line football. They were a liability more than an asset, and can't have that. So, you can change all the players you want, but at some point, the coach comes under scrutiny, and certainly he has. But I think that Paul Gunther knows how to coach football. He's proven that in his career. You need players to play, make plays, and I think the Raiders have done a good job of addressing some of their defensive needs over the last couple of years. I still think that there's some more that they're going to be able to address in future drafts and future free agencies. But for this group right now, the talent is there to be competitive, and we could talk all day about Paul Gunther making the right calls, and that's obviously important. But it's also important for those calls to be executed. And, the Raiders were having problems doing that the last couple of weeks and really for the whole season on a consistent basis. And look, you're playing in the NFL. The other side gets paid as well. You're going to give up points. That's just the way the world works in the NFL. We all understand that. But the defense is fully capable of making stops and making plays and being an asset rather than a liability. A lot of times defense is such about timing, making the right play when it needs to be made, getting the Chiefs off the field like they did in that second half consistently, coming up with a turnover, which is what the defense has had some trouble doing. So to me, Gunther's seat definitely cools down a little bit, but that defense got some plays by some players that needed to start making more and more plays. And I think what also helps is they're going to start getting healthy. Malik Collins will be coming back soon. Damon Arnett eventually. I think they really need Damon, the young cornerback. So getting healthy, guys just playing better, and this defense coming together. I mean, this is 7 new faces in the starting lineup, a lot of first and second year players, no OTAs, no mini camps. It was going to take a few games for them to get it together, and I think they really turned a corner on Sunday. Bonus question from yours truly. I know who that is. What can the Raiders do to keep the momentum of such a big win through the bye week and into their home game against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers? That's right. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are up next at Allegiant Stadium Sunday night. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday after the bye week. Really looking forward to that for a lot of different reasons. But I think, talking to some of the players these last couple of days, they're itching to already get back there. Normally you get to the bye week, and certainly there's an element of this where I got a chance to kind of catch our breaths and breathe a little bit. Remember, this team's been going at it pretty hard since the last week of August, last week of July, and they just kind of got thrown together like everyone in the NFL did as far as no OTAs, no mini camps, and go to start August, and so they've been getting after it pretty hard since then. A lot of unusual circumstances, a lot of things that you don't normally do. You're having to get tested every day. The social distancing, it's kind of a mental drain in a way. So obviously this week represents a chance to kind of catch their breath. But if you were to ask the players, do you want to just get back out there and play? I think to a man they'd be yes, because especially coming off that win. So I don't really think that there's going to be much of a deviation in terms of losing any momentum. Now, sometimes teams take a couple of weeks off and they're a little bit rusty to come back. That might be a little bit of the case, but I don't think it's going to be anything from a mental standpoint or a lack of the momentum standpoint. I think they're going to fly through this week, kind of catch their breath at the same time, but hit the ground running next week, because I think they really want to get back out on the field to show what they did on Sunday was more the norm than an aberration. I think they want to prove a lot of people wrong, so I think they're ready to get out there. So I don't really think that keeping the momentum is going to be difficult for this team. It's a young team, and these guys like to play. There's no doubt about it. So let me find some more questions here, if you give me 1 second. Hope everybody's doing good. Beautiful day here in Las Vegas. October in Vegas, I'll take it. After the long winter, or excuse me, summer, winter. Winter's coming up. I'm getting to the questions. Hold on a second. Maybe it's up here. Well, I'm hoping everyone enjoyed the win. And Raider Nation, you guys deserve to celebrate a little bit here. Um, it's been a long time coming in Kansas City, and it wasn't one of those games where Kansas City just played bad either. They actually played good, and it's a division game for them. That team has a lot of pride. They didn't want the Raiders to come walk into Arrowhead Stadium and beat them. So they got the Raiders got a great effort from the Chiefs. That's what makes it so much more satisfying if you're a Raiders or a Raider fan, because hey, we beat them pretty much while they're playing, one of their better games. So or as good as they can. So here we go. Here we go. Do you think this is from David, and it's Dr. Nesto 93. What's up, Dr. Nesto? Do you think we will see rugs in red zone packages? I think you're going to see rugs in every kind of package, and that's what I'm pretty excited about, just from a reporting standpoint. How the Raiders are going to use Henry Ruggs. We've just seen a small little glimpse of what Ruggs can mean to this offense. Obviously, the two long balls on Sunday, Ruggs was on my radio show In the Huddle here in Las Vegas, Raider Nation Radio, and he was one of our guests. So we talked about the 46-yard pass that he got on that first throw, and the dude went up and got that ball, and we were laughing because a lot of times with speed guys, they kind of get caught in this, sort of perception of, oh, he's just a fast guy, but they forget. And sometimes that is the case. Sometimes you're a fast guy that just doesn't know how to play football, and that's just a waste of time. And you try to develop a guy like that, but unless you know how to play football, it's honestly a waste. And we've seen that in the NFL. Henry Ruggs is a baller, man. He's a football player. So, and you saw some of that in training camp where he went up and got the ball and made plays when he had the ball in his hands. He's not just a speedy guy, although he's got world-class speed. So for him to go battle and get that ball over the cornerback on a 50-50 ball where he showed his ball checking skills, he showed his hands, obviously, his leaping ability, which is through the roof. Go watch some of the videos of him dunking the basketball. We know he's got hops. So he made a football play, and in talking to him, that's what made him most excited. It's like, because he hears it, oh, you're a speedy guy, oh, you're a fast guy. When you talk about him relative to other wide receivers coming out in the draft, he was always the speedy guy, and it almost came in a way, it was almost said in a way, but he's not quite the polished wide receiver or football player. Dude can play football. So, getting back to David's question, yeah, I think in the red zone you're going to start seeing things like some fly sweeps, some bubble screens, just getting him the ball in space, closer to the line of scrimmage, not just the long ball, just to get him the ball and let him do what he does, which is make plays. So I'm pretty excited just to see where it all goes with Henry Ruggs. What are the details of Bryan Edwards' injury, and when should he be expected back? Also, what do you think of the comparisons of Bryan Edwards to Deebo Samuel? Bryan basically sprained his ankle, so it was an ankle injury that he suffered against the Patriots. And I remember that play because I just remember grimacing because I was like, oh, that was an awkward kind of tackle. He sort of got his foot caught in the ground and got tackled backwards. So, you see that all the time. Look at Dak Prescott from the Cowboys. So, but he got up. He actually came back and played a little bit in that game. But the bottom line is ankle injury. I would think with this extra week off, probably a decent chance that we see Bryan Edwards right after the bye week. But we won't know really until not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. On next week when the Raiders practice again for the first time officially in preparation for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But whatever it is, however long it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be too much longer now. He's missed a couple of games. That seems to be the timeline for an injury like this. And I know Edwards, much like Henry Ruggs was when he was out for those 2 games. These dudes like football, so they're going to be out there ASAP. So wouldn't be surprised to see him next week. Jose Capote, I think I'm pronouncing that right, at Jose Capote. This team is starting to seem like 2016s. They can beat anybody, but it can be beaten if the defense doesn't improve. Do you know if they plan to sign or trade for a defensive player? Raiders Nation from Venezuela. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate the support from Venezuela. Always wanted to go to Venezuela, by the way. Okay, so the 2016 comparison, yeah, I wasn't there, so I was still covering the Rams at the time. I can't really, make that pinpoint kind of a comparison. But you're right. The defense definitely needs to improve. I thought you saw some of that on Sunday against a really good opponent. Again, it's a baseline performance. They created a baseline for themselves. Hate to see them deviate from what they were able to do against the Chiefs for a big portion of that game. They're not going to be playing Patrick Mahomes every week. So, if they could put that effort out against every other offense, they're gonna be in decent shape. Do you know if they plan to sign or trade for a defensive player? Not quite sure about a trade. I know they're always working guys out. Michael Kendricks, the veteran linebacker, was in town to work out. That could be a guy that you keep an eye on. But knowing John Gruden and knowing Mike Mayock, the quest is always to improve. And if they feel like there's somebody out on the open market right now or not playing anywhere right now that can help them, at the very least they're going to bring him in for a workout, as they did Kendricks, and we'll see where that goes from here. But they're not leaving one stone unturned in trying to improve offensively and defensively, but really specifically defensively. This is kind of an off-topic question. Does the Huddle still go to podcast? Yes, it does. You can get it all over the place, but you could also get Vegas Nation First and 10. My Vegas Nation podcast is also available in podcast form too, and that comes out every Monday. So keep an eye out for that. And that was from Kyle Terry at Kylos Del Rio. What's up, Kyle? All right, we'll go to Mo at His Name Is Mo. I like that. Do you think Julio or AJ Green maybe shot before the deadline would be something the Raiders would take a move on? Listen, if they're going to make a big trade, and as enticing as Julio Jones or AJ Green might be, I don't see them making a big trade at wide receiver. They've got plenty of good wide receivers. No need to invest a high draft pick or whatever it might take to get either of those two guys if they're even available. So no, I don't think that it would be wide receiver that they would be willing to make a big trade for. Now, if there's a really good defensive player that becomes available, that's a whole other story. I think that they would be interested, at the very least, listening and talking. If there's some defensive line help or a linebacker that might come available, or maybe even a safety. They've had a little bit of trouble at safety, and of course, you're always looking to continue to develop depth. The wide receiver, or not wide receiver, but the cornerback position has been banged up. It seems like on every game, every time I look up, there's a cornerback or defensive back that's on the ground in pain. So, trying to create some depth at all levels of the defense is something I'm sure that the Raiders would be interested in doing. So that's that. If you guys have any more questions, please don't be shy. Send me your questions, because I'm ready to answer whatever you got. Whatever. In fact, now I'm going to tweet a reminder to keep the questions coming. So I always wondered for you guys, the fans, you probably hate the bye week, huh? Because you want the game on Sunday. But again, this is a nice opportunity at this point in the season for the Raiders to kind of just go, man, been at it for a while. It's been a crazy year already. So many different factors to the season and ways that they're doing things. It's just completely different from what it normally is. And in addition to just the physical toll that football takes, the mental grind of this year all the rules and regulations, all the protocols. We've seen the Raiders, they kind of lead the league in some fines by the NFL, but they just have to keep minding their P's and Q's just like everybody else does, because pretty soon, if you don't, the NFL is going to reach into your pocket and take some money from you. And that's on top of, hey, let's do things right. You want to get the season in? Everybody needs to do their part, and that just means being careful and being diligent. And so, in addition to the fact that it might cost you some money, and nobody wants to give anybody their money, right? It's also a health issue. You want to be safe yourself, your family, everybody else, but also your teammates. You don't want to be the guy that takes the whole darn thing down. So everybody just needs to be safe. But I have to say that, it is a grind. I see the players and coaches. I get tested, as they're getting tested, and it's just got that feeling of same stuff, different day. Just having to do everything they got to do just to be able to safely play this game. So we'll see. I'm just waiting for some more questions. Whatever you guys got, whatever you want to talk about, I'm open to anything. Well, the Raiders. This is from Mike at Mike's Wordplay. I like that name, by the way. Will the Raiders get Bryan Edwards back after the bye? Should the Raiders pass to set up the run? We talked about Bryan Edwards earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it again, though. Yeah, I mean, the kind of injury that Bryan had, the ankle injury, he's missed, 2 weeks now? He'll get an extra third week this week to recuperate, and then, if you want to move it forward, the following week as well, in preparation for the game. So he'll have 3 solid weeks to get back. To start practicing perhaps next week, and even that's another chance if they limit him in practice to kind of get it together. So 4 weeks from between playing, I think that he's got a shot to get back for that game. It's a big get back for the Raiders, because Bryan was coming on. He's a good player, big physical player, and that just makes your wide receiver group even that much deeper, because we saw it with Nelson Aguilar and Zay Jones in his limited time. It's a deep group now. Can you believe it? Last year we were talking about who they're going to throw the ball to. There was nobody that you were really excited about, right? Except for Hunter Renfrow. We haven't even mentioned Hunter Renfrow today. So it's another really good wide receiver that they have. But now it's like everywhere you turn, okay. So kudos to Mike Mayock and John Gruden for not just addressing the wide receiver position with the draft of Henry Edwards, but also retaining Zay Jones, going out and getting Nelson Aguilar, and then drafting Bryan Edwards in the third round. So, it's created a pretty good group, and we're already seeing that. I think I got a text, and this is what reporters do right here. Hey, thank you guys for participating this week. It seems like some of you guys are maybe taking the week off, which you deserve to do that too. Enjoy your week. We will be back here next Tuesday. Not quite sure who's on the docket for next Tuesday, but we'll get all that information tweeted out to you guys, so you guys can be a part of it, with Tom Brady coming to Allegiant Stadium next Sunday. Are you kidding me? That's going to be pretty cool. So until then, we'll see you next Tuesday. Really appreciate the participation, and we'll talk to you guys next week.